right? We're all meant to be family, right? If we could only treat each other like we're all family, I feel like this world would get somewhere, and probably quickly. The next question I have is, what is pain? Right? And I'll give my answer to that at the end of my testimony. So, in my life, I have experienced lots of pain, quite a bit. I've had 2 major reconstructive surgeries, one on my left elbow, one on my right knee. So this half of my body has other people's body parts in it, and that's a whole lot. I've went through 8 surgeries all together in my life. I've been through lots and lots and lots of pain. It was in 2016 when I suffered a spontaneous pneumothorax, which is a collapsed lung. And I found myself being aided by people on a sidewalk, waiting for the ambulance to come. And had I known what I would endure over the next 2 weeks, I would have allowed myself to die right then and there. Still to this day, I can't confidently say that I would rather relive that 2-week period. So I went to the hospital, and it was the 5th day in the hospital from that pneumothorax when I got an unsuspecting visit from my father, who I hadn't seen in years. My dad wasn't actually in my life until that point. And so him showing up at the hospital caused me to have an anxiety attack. And I had this anxiety attack when I had 3 tubes running in and out of my lung. And they said that when I had the anxiety attack, my lung crumpled like a pop can. I almost lost my lung, and I spent the next week in the ICU being pumped with way too many drugs, going through way too much pain. It was absolutely unbearable. I can hardly think about it sometimes. And so, physical pain, I've experienced it all, really. I didn't really have parents growing up. My mom passed away when I was 18 years old. My dad was never really in my life, but so now I go back to family. Family's who you make it, right? My God blessed me with 2 people who were unrelated to me. Their names were Christy and Cody. I consider them as my brother and my sister. Christy I've known since I was 4, and she's always been there for me. She used to take care of me and babysit me, and we are still to this day extremely, extremely close. She's like my everything. Cody, I met when I was 20 years old, and he's from the very first day that we met, he always said, I don't know what it is, man, there's just something about you. I can't let you, out from underneath my wing. Something God's telling me I need to be there for you. I have to. And so, over the course of the rest of the time, this dude did everything for me. He was always there for me. He's my best friend, my brother. He's the one who gave me my first car. It's unbelievable how much he was there for me. And so, skip forward a little bit, 10 years or so, I battled with drug addiction heavily. Cody was always there for me. He actually made it through the TC program in 2012. He was a graduate with honors. He went on to really do big things with his life. Have a family, have kids, nice house, stuff like that. And so he was always encouraging me to do better, do more in my life. Seek God, love family, keep the needle at your arm. That kind of advice. And I hold that advice dear to my heart now. It's everything to me. Love God, love family, keep the needle out of my arm. Thank you. And so, I was struggling once again with drug addiction, and I knew that I had to make a change. And I've known Jeremy Langren and Nick Olson for a long time. 2016 was my first time in TC. I know some of you guys, since then. And so, initially, when I wanted to get baptized so that I could try and turn my life around, it was November 20th, 2022, and it happened right here, right there actually, in that tub right there. And thank you. And that was such a meaningful moment in my life. It really was. It was the turning point of my life. Because after that day, it's November 20th, November 21st was the day that my brother died. He was given a line of cocaine by someone, which he didn't even do drugs. At that point, he was way into sobriety and had a wife and kids, and someone offered him a line of cocaine, and so he did that line of cocaine and drove home and sat down on his couch and died of a fentanyl overdose. So, that's how easy it happens. You don't, if you dance with the devil, you get burned. That's how easy it happens. Just like that. One little tiny mistake that you think could be absolutely harmless could cost you absolutely everything. Right? Not only did it cost him absolutely everything, it cost me absolutely everything, because he was the most important person in my life. If I didn't have Cody, I wouldn't be here 1,000 times over. He was my best friend. He was my mentor. He was my teacher. I was his student. He was everything to me. And so all the physical pain that I've ever been through in my life, none of it had anything on the pain that I felt when I lost Cody. It almost broke me. And so what I had to do was I had to throw myself back into treatment. And you see, Cody, he had tangled with drugs a little bit again in his life, but the year before he died, what he did was he stopped doing drugs on Christmas Day. That was his Christmas gift to himself, was he was going to get back on track for his kids. And he did. So for 11 months, he was completely sober and solid before that happened. And so I decided, since it was so crazy that the day before Cody died, I was baptized here, which is just insane, because if I hadn't been baptized here the day before Cody died, I wouldn't have had the spiritual strength to drive me forward to make the right choices and the right decisions. We're just going to skip the whole thing up there, Grant, because I'm already running out of time here, but God is amazing. Amen. God is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Everything that he does, he always has perfect timing. God is never late. God is never early. It's always perfect timing. And so my Christmas gift to myself in 2022 was to check myself into treatment. And get this, so my sister, Christy, just so happened to be a counselor over at the Duluth Detox. And so that's where my journey began. I checked myself into treatment at the Detox, and I was there for 10 days, and then I went to treatment at Lake Place. That didn't work out, so they transferred me all the way down to some lower part in Minnesota. It's called PTAB, Project Turnabout or something, and I was there for 2 months, and then I went to a wonderful program called the Fortress, and I was at the Fortress for 3 months. So all in all, it was 6 months or whatever, and I had to come back because I dislocated my elbow and needed major reconstructive surgery. And I met on the bus home. Oh, there he is. If you could just stand up and give me a hug real quick, man. I met this gentleman. and obviously, God has a funny way.
I was in Teen Challenge at the time, too.
Yeah, and he was in Teen Challenge at the time, too. So it's just crazy, and God has perfect timing in everything and everywhere. And so I ask you again, what is pain? Pain is preparation. All right, pain is preparation. Whatever you're going through, physically, mentally, anything, it's prepping you for what's next. God is always making you stronger. All right, so whatever it is you feel like you're going through it. for a reason, because he's trying to better you. He's trying to improve you because he has more plans in store for you.